Howdy, howdy, howdy. All right, so today for the trade recap, here we go. It took me a really long time to find something to trade this morning. I must have gone through over 70, if not maybe 100 stocks this morning trying to find something. I was like, maybe I should just go back to bed, but it was 5 o'clock in the morning here, so I don't know. Once you're up, right? So, anyways, so let's start with the SPY. It was this morning, bouncing in the morning in the pre-market. So I was kind of thinking, we've got this bounce, this nice wick to the downside. Maybe we'll be strong today and we'll push up and maybe make a breakout. So I was kind of long biased and it kind of screwed me up a little bit. I wasn't expecting it to roll over the way that it did, but the market just does what it wants. So what I ended up deciding on. So when I couldn't find anything that I really wanted to trade, I was like, all right, what are all these momentum traders looking at today? And I saw that SOFI was a hot jam this morning. So I wanted to see if it had anything that I would have been interested in trading. So when I bring up SOFI, and I did end up trading this, so let me take off these. And let's just go to this daily chart. All right, so I liked SOFI this morning. I liked this range that it had set on the daily. We've kind of got a bottom over here as well. And last week it broke below it. And then today, we're gapping up on a positive news catalyst and we're coming into the bottom of this range. So I'm thinking if the SPY opens strong, maybe we're going to come back into this range and this will be like the new area that it kind of just lives in. But there was also the possibility that it would reject the bottom and you would get a move to the downside. And that actually ended up happening in the open in the beginning of the day. Unfortunately, I was so stuck in my head about taking this as a long that I missed it a little bit. The hindsight's 2020, the daily is in a downtrend and that would have been a signal to me that maybe I should have taken it short. But I did get a good move on it eventually. Let's go into the smaller time frame here. So let's see. So let's do the 1 minute to start, or maybe we'll do 5. Okay. All right. So here's SoFi in the morning, and this yellow line right here is that bottom of the daily range that I was talking about. So in the morning when we gapped up and we're pushing up, we are like right around that level, right? Like so we're holding it pretty well. Comes down and tests it, comes back up, and I'm thinking, all right. Last week I had multiple stocks in the pre-market that came to my level and then just like left me to the moon, and I never got that trade on them. So this morning I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take a trade in the pre-market, even though I don't love doing that. And maybe they'll do that if the SPY opens strong. So the SPY did open strong, but here's the problem. The financial sector decided to do this at the open. And SOFI is a financial stock, and that really didn't work out in my favor. So, get this guy. All right, so to the trade. So I went in pre-market, and I thought to myself, if it pulls back in the morning and tests this level of mine, I'll add into it. And that's what I did originally, because the SPY was pushing up, and that's what I was looking at. So let's go to the 1 minute just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So got in here, was expecting a pretty decent move to the top side. That was kind of my plan. I was like, we're in the range, so now I'm expecting, either middle of the range, if not top of the range, if the momentum is really strong on it. But so when it sold off at the open, it kind of bounced a little bit off this level, and I was like, oh, cool. So like I'm gonna take another entry on it. Awesome, like even better. Now my entry is even better. And unfortunately, it sold off, and I got stopped out. Well, I didn't circle that very well, but you get the point. And then what I did was I threw on these pivots. I think I actually had them up. Now that I think about it, I had them up while I was trading. And I thought, if it gets down to S3, maybe I'll get a move off of S3 and like that's the move that I should take. Either back to my level, or, it's just dropping below it and like now we're going to get a move back into the range. So that was kind of my plan. I've been adding these pivots as like a second entry point of my level, to kind of play off of, because a lot of times it'll go past my level and then the pivots will help it turn and go back into the range or leave the range or whatever. So that was kind of my plan. And then it just kind of like got the best of me. So I lost on the first one, and then it was sort of holding here, right? So we got this one, and it's a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and I was like, all right, this is maybe the turning point. And instead of waiting, for this, I hit in again, and I got stopped out. And then, so I'm at 2 losses, and I'm like, damn it, SoFi. And, hindsight again, like, this level is the level that I want to be playing. And when it lost it, I could have got a really decent short out of this. But I was just so long biased this morning. I don't know. It's because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. I blame that. So, this one didn't work. This one didn't work. But then, after I got stopped out of this one, we're getting closer to S3, and I'm like, all right, well, 1350 is here, and that could be a bounce point. So I'm going to hit in one tier here. And if we get down to S3, I'll hit in another tier. So that was my game plan. And that's what I did. And then what's interesting is that, I did end up getting a move after that. That was my 3rd time's the charm, I guess. I had a loss up here, a loss. And then, I got this great move up here. A partial just before the level. And then I actually had to run to meet my contractor for something. So I took a partial here, and then I set range orders. And I knew that if it lost my level again, that I would just get all out of it. Like I didn't want to be on it anymore. It's pushing again, but I can't be mad. This ended up being like a 7-hour trade after 2 little losses. So yeah, overall, decent day. What's interesting though, I wanted to point out in SoFi was that, as we're doing this, the market is still selling off. So the SPY is still selling off, and the XLF was still selling off. Right around here, XLF started to turn around, and I think SPY turned around right around here. So what I found interesting is that as the sectors were selling off, SoFi was just kind of holding, and it was holding above the level, another level that I liked. So I was kind of in my head thinking, if the SPY turns around and the sector turns around, then we might get the move that I'm anticipating. And I knew that if it lost this level, I would just get all out, and that would be it. Like after that many times trying, I wouldn't play it anymore. But, luckily I ended up getting a move on it. Yeah, something to point out is that, so far today, if you look up here, it's done, over 150 million shares in volume. And typically it does about 30 million. And it did 30 million alone. Like I think it's 36 million, yeah, in this candle alone. So, the rest of the day, like when it does its majority of volume, the rest of the day can kind of be a little bit of a choppy mess. But yeah, and it did a full ATR move as well. So, this is a full ATR. So, it had some things working in its favor down here, with S3 and a full ATR move, and the SPY turning around, and the ETF, the financial sector turning around. So yeah, not great plays at the beginning. I mean, I did like this because, I was playing off of this level. This one shouldn't have played. This one made sense as a backup to me now that I'm, adding pivots around these levels. So yeah, it ended up working out. Decent day, a little bit stressful at the open, but it is what it is. And you can't win them all. All right, guys. Peace.